Montiel.
Well, dear visitors, friends, I would like to welcome you at the very corner of Terra Parzival in Slovenia. It starts roughly here in this old monastery of Šička Kartuzija, and then it goes further to the east. This is a place of hundreds of years of prayer. We have to try to grasp what it means that century after century, there is order. Every day there is order of certain attitude of trying to connect with the highest. And this kind of life of monks is one of the pillars of the Middle Ages, one of the pillars on which Europe lives. We live on that credit now. This is our spiritual credit, in a sense, that we are actually giving out now. And on the other pillar were the knights. So you have knights and you have monks. You see, we come here to Šička Kartuzija, and it's far in a valley. All the monasteries were in the valleys. They were kind of hidden out of the busy life, while the castles of the knights, they were on the hills. They were above, looking around. But we have this mystery of joining them both in the story of Grail, and the Knights of Grail were called Templeisen, according to Eschenbach. And Templeisen, they sort of refer to the Knights of Templars, Knights Templars, who connected both dimensions in their striving, the inner spiritual dimension and the outer knighthood dimension. And this is really the modern challenge of the modern human being, how to combine the two. So I wanted just to tell you, here we are in Žiče, and we will start our travel today through the Terra Parzival. Our journey takes us now from monks to the knights. We are now going into the first set of castles in the surroundings of this sacred mountain, Mont Salvace. And this ruin behind us is a very special place. It is the castle Plankenstein. Below, in the valley, there is a younger castle which has the name Pogled. And it was the Pogled that brought me to this Terra Parzival, because Viktor Strake, who was for 40 years researching the story of Parzival and Grail in Slovenia and Styria, he was, before he died, led to this place. 1 week before he died, he has seen the castle Pogled and Plankenstein, and it was so happy after such long research. And his son, then months later, after his death, I met his son in Germany at Externstein, the ancient Germanic initiation place. And I was asked the question, do I know what it means Pogled in German? Of course I said Anschau, and he said, yes, indeed, you must read this book, this manuscript. So that is how the whole story began. So here we are, we see Plankenstein, and very soon we will be passing close to Mont Salvace and go to the next monastery. Wolfram von Eschenbach calls this place, this magic place of water, Fontane de Salveche, or Fontane de la Salveche, which means fountain of the beautiful or mighty Boch. And the connection of this place with the story is very evident also with description of the scene of Sigune and Shia Natulander. The unusual circumstances that in the sanctuary there is a sarcophagus with the embalmed martyr from the 3rd century from Rome. This is kind of inspires the image or the imagination of Sigune at the Fontane with the dead beloved Shia Natulander, who she holds in her lap, like Christ in the lap of the Mary. You see, this pietà is a very strong presence here in this place. And of course it is right under Mont Salvage. Our journey for the Grail brought us now to one of the hard places of this Grail landscape. This is the place of water, of the sources, the place of feminine strength, quality, And this is again an ancient monastery, this time of the nuns, nunnery. We are in a place of meditation, inner life, of centuries. And this place is located right as a wound into the mountain. It is the Mont Salvage, and this water comes right out of the mountain, out of this lake that is in the mountain, according to the old legend. And the lake is situated on 3 mounts. So 3 mounts carry the lake in the mountain, and on the lake there is a boat that is driven by swan, by the gold chain. And on the boat stands the hero or the knight, one could say the Grail Knight, who has a crow on his head, and he listens to the horn. What is the condition in the world and how to intervene in this condition? Well, this is the picture of Lohengrin, the son of Parzival. So we are here in the place of Lohengrin. You enter this monastery, Studenice, place of water. You see above the old ruin of the castle. We call it Lohengrin Castle. And here in the sanctuary, in the temple, I would like to shortly point to you the shape of Terra Parzival. The shape of Terra Parzival basically comprises a cup. And here in this corner we have Ptui. And Ptui is a place where grandfather comes, Gandin. Gandin is the grandfather of Parzival. And then further down, we have Borl. Borl-Ankerstein is the castle that was built in its original form by Gamoret, a son of Gandin, father of Parzival, the famous great knight who never was thrown out of the saddle of his horse. And he said, I'm going to serve only the greatest knight of the world, irregardless of religion. Therefore, he chose to serve the Caliph of Baghdad. And he fought for Caliph, and he was killed by Caliph before Parzival was born. Now, further down, we have here the area. Here is where we are now, Studenice. So, place of Lohengrin. And here is the famous mountain, Boch. It is called Boch, but with playing with the words, using the medieval terminology, one can call it Mont Sal Boch, which stands for Mont Salvage, Mont Salvage. Here is Studenice, where we are now, and here we started Žička Kartuzija, Žiče. And here is this Belovo. We went on the Plankenstein. Now what is missing, we will be now going here to the cave of Trebizond. And this cave is the key moment where in the 9th chapter, Wolfram von Eschenbach, he places in the mouth of Trebizond the whole geographic history of this event. He says, I was traveling with your father from Sevilla across the sea, entering the land at Aquileia, and then going on the land to Gandin, where your grandfather has his kingdom. And then so on, he explains these places, and Trebizond's cave is the scene of the Good Friday. This is the place where Parzival comes because the horse, Grail horse, brings him here. He doesn't know this place. So, because behind the mountain here, there is a abyss in which the horse of Parzival falls down in dramatic battle with the Knight of the Grail. And then the Knight of the Grail runs away, Parzival's horse is down, dead, and he takes the horse of the Grail Knight. And the horse of the Grail Knight knows this place. So Parzival just lets him go because he's lost in his thoughts. And the horse brings him here. And it is in this place where Trevisan reveals Parzival his identity and where he comes from really, and what sins he has done in life without knowing, partially. And of course, this is the place of turning point. Those of viewers who know the theory U of Otto Scharmer and Fritz Glaser, they know the turning point at the bottom of U. This is the turning point in this magnificent story of Wolfram von Eschenbach, comprising 24,000 verses. Right in the chapter 9, so-called Good Friday chapter, the ascent starts from the darkest of the night. So here we are, and I would like for viewers to play something in the cave. Trevisan, here in this cave, there must have been an altar. It has two spaces, some straw, dry grass, the water running. You can hear it. Close to the Montsalvatge. Now, to hold this, we have the 16th meridian going through this cup. The 16th meridian. And the 16th meridian is in this composition. It is the name of Parzival, which means piercing through the valley. This is the valley, Parzival, and this is the 16th meridian, which is the a kind of border of Europe where Asia has to stop during the history. This is the border. It is also called Meridian of Saint Michael, according to the book of Victor Stracke. And on this meridian, of course, we have Vienna. That's important. We have Koberwitz, where biodynamic farming was inaugurated by Rudolf Steiner. Not far here in this direction is the birthplace of Rudolf Steiner. Not far in this direction. And of course, this is Terra Parzival, a magic landscape of Slovenia, which offers the possibility to enter in unique way that only connection to the arts can offer. Namely, you enter this landscape, you connect with the places, you hear the story, you connect with the local people, enjoy the hospitality, this warmth of Slovenians, and then you do your work surrounded by processes of arts, meeting cultures, meeting other disciplines, for instance, art and business, or meeting generations. We have a big problem today. Old and young do not know how to meet. And in this way, what I call the macro instrument, when all these components are playing together, then the music that comes out of these instruments, that is called polyphonic European identity. Dear friends, first of all, truly, thank you so much for coming back to Slovenia, coming back to Terra Parzival. 9 years it is that we were in Castle Ball, yes. What I would like to do now, there was a question how to connect this to the Parzival. So I would like to try to say something very shortly about that. As you know, this landscape has two aspects very close. Every place you go, there is either a monastery or there is a castle. Monasteries in the deep valleys, castles on the top of the hills. And this split between monks and the knights is typical for the modern human being. However, those who were guarding the Grail, they were called Templars, and they were the knights who in themselves connected the sacred striving and the worldly striving. Also, one could say among the knights, there were knights of spear and knights of word. So knights who were fighting with the word. And in our time, a challenge is to find each of us, the Parzival in us, where we connect these two dimensions of life and go into life with the deepest inner assurance of spiritual necessity that needs to permeate the world in our time, and at the same time to be extraordinarily practical, like you all were by cleaning this chapel. So this is what is important thing playing into our time from the 9th century of the story of Parzival.
Thank you very much to the Slovenians to Frank and his team that we could be in here, that we could have our very deep experiences and insights, and also explore each other while doing something in this chapel. For many of us, it was very important to learn what it means to be a host and being hosted while doing it practically. And so also that we could give back a little bit something, cleaning this chapel, we mainly could learn a lot out of it.
The two, yes? Now, how do they go into development? I feel the need not only to play, but to help your attention to be very much in the process. So I will take 5, 7, maybe 10 minutes the most of the process, if you permit me, and then perform. So we listen with 10 ears, yeah? All right, we start now with the motive. The motive I just played. It says, so this is how it starts. And it will go on the journey. Let's hear. Did you hear? What happens? I'm not so sure. I insist. Better not. So, you see, there are two directions. It says, So, as you see, there is no listening. Everybody's trying to do their own thing. Yes? Once again, do sviđanja. So, everybody's doing their thing. And here we are now, finally, at the very heart piece, a centerpiece of Terra Parzival. We are standing in front of the ancient tower of Gachmoret. This is Castle Borel. Ancient name is Ankerstein, the anchor standing upwards towards the heavens, the symbol and the emblem, the coat of arms of Gachmoret, father of Parzival. This is the place where he was supposed to find his peace, which he didn't. And he died in Baghdad, fighting for the greatest knight, in his opinion, who was the Caliph of Baghdad. But Schianotolander, he was fighting for this castle, and he lost his life because he was fighting for the kingdom of Parzival. Parzival was still a child. So this tower, which you can see behind me, is not the actual Gamoret's tower. Inside of this tower there is yet another tower, which is protected by the outer tower, the very old Romanic tower of Castle Borel. Borel is a musical instrument. He is like a spiral. If you enter from this side and go inside into the large courtyard, with male energy, one could say, and then going through this courtyard inside to the inner courtyard. This inner courtyard, which is very with the water, with the well behind the tower. But around these courtyards are the buildings that have been growing throughout the time of European growth. It went from Romanic to Gothic to Renaissance to Baroque to the present day. And as you go in this spiral, traversing the terrace overlooking these wonderful fields of Ptui and seeing the other castle of his father, which was Parzival's grandfather, Gandin, then you turn back, go up to the tower, and you come to the very top where is a little tower on which you can see the watch. Timeless. This is going to be the wonder of the world once it is rebuilt, because you will enter through these beautiful gardens where the field of senses will be receiving you to reconnect with the space. Going in the castle through the attics, where in the attics the labyrinth will lead you through 4,200 years of Europe's spiritual history, so to say. And then you enter the building itself for the activities supported by the processes of art. Welcome to Borl.